Anthony Romano here alongside Vinny Micucci for Sportscaster101.com, giving you the American League West preview for 2012. Vinny, the word to describe the American League West this year is power. Both in offense and pitching, there is power in this division. The main move this offseason is obviously the addition of first baseman Albert Pujols to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. How is that going to impact their offense?
Well, certainly. Southern California baseball, it's always been a focus on the Dodgers. Well, the Angels, they've now grabbed the headlines once again. Albert Pujols goes there. Somewhat of a surprise move this past offseason, what everyone thought or where he might go. But what he does now is really completes that lineup. You have to love what that's going to do. It's going to help out everybody, even like a Torrey Hunter. You don't know, but he's going to help out the rest of that offense as well. And in that ballpark, a good potential for some big power. So I think you're right, Anthony. The big question is how does he adapt to a new league and new pitching? They say that pitching has the advantage first over hitters, and they have to adjust second. But for Albert, he might just be good enough to make the adjustments right away.
And, you talk about good pitching like that. Obviously, the Angels got a great pitcher themselves in C.J. Wilson coming over from their division rivals, the Rangers. That gives an entire new mindset to this Angels rotation. I mean, they already have Herron. They already have Weaver. You add C.J. Wilson to this rotation, this team looks really good. Yeah,
arguably the best rotation in all of baseball. And not only did you bring in a big name like C.J. Wilson, and I'm uncertain as to what exactly he'll do. Now, keep in mind, he was pitching in Texas, which is not a pitcher's scenario, and for him to do well says an awful lot. But he now gets to go in and not have to be the number one guy. He goes in with the mix of those guys and takes over as part of what could be the top rotation in baseball. On top of it, the Angels not only got a good player, but they stole him away from somebody within their division that they're fighting for right now at the top. It's a big storyline. It'll obviously have a major impact, and it all comes down to how well C.J. Wilson performs.
Well, absolutely. And, the Rangers, they lost C.J. Wilson, but they kind of made up for it with signing of Yu Darvish. Kei Igawa, Daisuke Matsuzaka. Is Yu Darvish just going to be another blowout, or can he be the real deal?
Well, what we've seen out of the Japanese pitchers to this point is obviously Yu Darvish is the kind of guy that we know he's done it in Japan. And pitching in Japan has worked better than hitting has on an immediate level. A couple of people have been able to surpass that. We know of Ichiro, Hideki Matsui, and others. But mostly pitching is what might find some success in the major leagues. Darvish could be that kind of a guy. It's going to ultimately come down to what type of an adjustment it is for him, not just on the mound, but also off the field and around. If he makes this scenario, which I imagine he will in Texas, then I think that they'll have a good pitcher on their hands.
You look at the Rangers and the Angels, they're obviously the favorites in this division, but the Oakland Athletics, it doesn't look like they're just backing down. They signed Manny Ramirez the other day, and it wasn't a long contract. We know he also has to serve that suspension, but could they really be pushing towards the playoffs this year?
Well, they're a two-part question, I guess, Anthony. Number one is are they a good enough team to win without Manny Ramirez? And then what can they do if he does come in? He right now is definitely on the back burner because, as you mentioned, the suspension is part one. Part two of it is what does he have left in the tank? So then the question becomes, can they do it without Manny? Well, I think they do have a good all-around team, and we know that Billy Beane will always go out and get the most out of his team, but even that answer, is it good enough to compete with Texas and L.A.? Probably not.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. I think this is a two-team division, but the Mariners and the A's, they're going through rebuilding processes. I don't think it's going to be out of the question for them in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and when you talk about what this ball club in Seattle brings to the table, about 2 or 3 years ago, I predicted them as a team, because of Felix Hernandez, because of what they had pitching-wise, to go out and make a splash. I'm still waiting for it, obviously, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as they've been in past seasons. Expect them to sit around 500 is my take on it. I'd love to see them compete for a wild card, that being a more realistic scenario.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's going to be a two-team race. I think the Angels are going to take the division this year, but look for the Rangers to also be a wild card team. Previewing the AL West, I'm Anthony Romano alongside Vinny Micucci for Sportscaster101.com.